We killed so many people with our butt, Dave. You don't even know. Most deadly weapon on Alternia. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Pesterquest. I don't know what everyone's responses for Dave was, but we are now moving on to Jade, and my voice just cracked. We're moving on to Jade now. Be interesting to see how they write her, considering she's literally was raised by wolves. But had the comforts of first world society while on an island. She had internet, but she only used it to, I guess, learn important stuff and not pop culture references. Anyway, let's get started on this roll. And Jade, the loneliest girl in the world. That's just a space player, to my knowledge. Anyway, it's been days and your stomach still hasn't recovered from Olive Garden. But you can't spend forever moping around. There are friends to make, dang it. Well, just one left in this set. Her name is Jade Harley. And though all three of your new pals consider themselves good friends with her, they know strikingly little about her life. The most you glean from is that she lives on a mysterious island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean with her grandfather and some uncommon breed of dog. Their communication with her has been limited to internet messages and packages sent to a P.O. box in some podunk town called Hanswich. Ah! Oh, and I hear that music in the background. You throwing the Squiddles album back in here again? I'm pretty sure this is Squiddles. Anyway. Like Carefree Princess Berry Boo, but not because we already used that one for a troll. I hear dog barks too. Okay. John said he would message her and see if she could provide an address, but you don't want to wait. Throwing yourself headlong into friendship has always worked for you. So you close your eyes, think islandy thoughts, and hope it works. But something strange happens as you channel your powers. A loud bark echoes somewhere in the distance, and a nuclear green energy sparks in the air around you. You catch a split-second glimpse of a massive green sun, and then you hit the ground with your hands and hit the ground on your hands and knees. The whole event can't have taken more than a second or two. Whoa. Beck! Oh, we got a spec sprite! Yay! I love that! That's so great. You great, Beck. How's it going, Beck? Wow. I like the art in the background. Cat with a sword. Wolf with fairy wings that makes it look like it's from Neopets. Fenestrated pane. The outlet that it looks like it's being plugged into a window from Alternia. Very cool. Okay, you blink and refocus your vision. You are inside a room. The floor is smooth and white and disrupting the monotony in front of you as you are set okay, let me try that again. The floor is smooth and white and disruptingly the monotony in front of you. You are a set of similarly white and disrupting the monotony in front of you are a set of similarly white paws attached to a lucis. You mean an animal. You slowly stagger up and look him over. Oh, it's a very large and fluffy dog. His snout held up high, a long green tongue hangs out of the open mouth as he pants lightly. The air around him crackles with electricity, making the fur on his back stand on end. Something about him feels familiar to you. Familiar twice over. His fuzzy and regal form reminds you of a warmth you once knew, but those neon sparks fill your stomach with dread. At the very least, he seems friendly. He leans in and drags his rough tongue along your cheek, leaving it tingling. His tail wags swiftly back and forth as he keeps nosing at you. He seems fascinated. Aww. Beck! Down, boy! Aww. Someone looks like they got ripped straight out of... Oh gosh, why can't I remember the name? It just escaped me as soon as it happened. I'll put it up on the screen. You know what I'm talking about. I just can't remember the name. This is a friendly demeanor of his that this is It is this friendly demeanor of his that leaves you shocked when he moves aside, and you find yourself staring down the barrel of a rifle. It is held aloft by a bespectacled young lady in a sensible skirt, who really has no business pointing such a heavy freaking gun at you. Okay, please don't panic, and don't make any sudden moves. I've never shot a living being before, and it would make me very, very sad if I had to start now. Oh, okay, this is happening now. Is this Jade? She doesn't sound like Jade based on what John told you. She looks more like a Gigi. Anyway, or maybe a Lynn. Anyway. Right, the gun. Don't get sidetracked. You slowly raise your hands and surrender and try to pull your most inoffensive expression. You tell her that if she started shooting living beings, you would be pretty sad too. So why doesn't she put down the gun and... No way! I don't want to shoot you, but you're clearly a dangerous and unpredictable being, and I need to make sure I stay safe. My grandpa taught me a lot about gun safety and trigger discipline in case anything bad ever happened to me. So I know that good trigger discipline means keeping your finger on the trigger at all times in case you need to blow something to bits. Oh crap. Now let me make things clear to you. I'm very clever. I'm a very clever girl, and you won't be able to fool me as easily as you fooled the others. It's very obvious to me what you've been doing, and I knew that you would eventually show up if I waited long enough. Sure enough, John messaged me not too long ago to let me know that you wanted to visit, so I prepared myself for your arrival. You've come to interfere with our lives, and now I want to know why. So you better start talking, okay? Okay, you say. What does she want to talk about? You're well versed on a variety of eclectic subjects, so you want to go on about basically anything. Wrestling, postmodern art, controversial opinions on traditional jurisprudence. But you get the feeling that this is all interrogation, and you really have no idea what she's interrogating you over. That's a very likely story. I can put two and two together pretty easily, you know. You've never shown up in any of my dreams before, and now none of those dreams are coming to pass. Not to mention that I don't even see Prospect when I go to sleep anymore. Uh-oh. We screwed up the timeline so badly. Take a sip. Screw the cap closed, and that can only mean that you've derailed the forces of fate. You destroyed John's copy of Spurb, and somehow that changes everything. Not only could John not begin the game, none of us could. None of the meteors hit like they were supposed to, and it was like the universe changed its very fabric to bend to your evil whims. Whoa, evil? That's a bit harsh. You'll cop to stupid, but evil is way too much. Don't play dumb with me. What else could motivate you to stop us from fulfilling our destiny as heroes? Heroes? John and friends are very nice, but they don't exactly strike you as heroes. That's because you don't know them like I know them. You haven't seen the shrines on Prospect or heard stories from the Queen or seen them in the clouds growing to be brave and wonderful people. And now I'm beginning to suspect that those things will never come to pass. John's birthday came and passed without any fanfare, except for him supposedly befriending a strange mailman. And that day, the internet was full of people complaining that their beta copies of Spurb weren't working, and there was a huge scandal with the company. Oh, wow. We really derailed things to the point where the world didn't get destroyed. Whoa. A little while later, I found that this mailman was talking with Rose and had magical powers. I know a thing or two about magical powers, or at least powers which seem to be magical to those who haven't studied their logical sources. But yours are totally different from anything I've seen. At first I thought you must be an advanced Dursite agent come to sabotage us. But you definitely aren't from Durs. Maybe a Prospitten double agent? I also consider the weird trolls who kept pestering me. But they've been weirdly quiet lately, and you don't really give me that vibe. And obviously you're not a human. Well, hang on, you are a human, right? She tilts her head and gives you a little, really? Kind of a look, and your stomach twists into knots. The more I look at you, the more I start to think you're like... how do I explain this? Okay, do you know what a furry is? We're on the internet, lady. I know what furries are. I think one of my, friends is a furry, man. At least the anime series he's trying to push is that. Friends in a kind of neutral sense. We became friends because I told him that his idea looked kind of terrible, and he's like, sold. Friendship? And I'm like, okay. Wow, okay, that question is more loaded than her gun. Yes? Alright, so a lot of artists I follow do... YCH. Okay, so I don't know that much about that culture, okay? I don't know what that is. Okay, commissions, and you remind me of one of those? Does that make any sense? You have no idea what a YCH is, you cautiously ask her. It stands for your character here? Oh, okay. Thank you. Basically, an artist will draw a pose or a scenario, but instead of putting in an actual character, they'll leave a blank outline, like a mannequin. You pay them to put your own character there. And when I look at you, I feel like I'm looking at one of those blank spaces. But I'll write your name. Sorry. My intuition doesn't tell me anything about you, and you've never showed up in my dreams. You're like my best friend Beck over here. A complete wild card, something I can't figure out. Which brings me back to my point. She almost let her gun drop. You almost had forgotten she was holding it, but she hefts it back up to point at you and steals her gaze. You're gonna tell me why you came here and did what you did. And you're gonna help me fix it. That rifle's really starting to bother you. Get the gun away from her or stay calm and explain yourself. Well, I'm assuming we want to do the second option. I'll just do that second option now, okay? Alright, pretty much everyone except John has called you on your bull so far, so you may as well give her a full confession. You absolutely did change the course of reality, but it was a result of a genuine mess-up, not ill intent. It's kind of a long story, but you relate it as best as you can. Your strange lack of memory, an encounter with a bizarre magical artifact, the way you blundered into John's life and destroyed his mail as a result of your highly relatable social anxiety. The girl listens intently as you explain what brought you here, and you offer an apology. You think that you have irreversibly altered the very fabric that threads her cosmos together. There's probably no way of putting things back the way they were and letting this lady go with her golden dream quest, or whatever she was blatantly blathering about while you were distracted by her very deadly gun. Okay. You sound very sincere, and I'd like to believe you. So, I'll take you at your word for now. Whatever shenanigans you involved yourself in, I trust that you don't intend to cause any problems. Let's put away this ugly business behind us. So much hair. The girl holsters her rifle, and you breathe a long sigh of relief. Sorry about all that. I promise it only had the best intentions. It's cool, you tell her. You got the distinct feeling that you've dealt with much worse. Yeah, I'd imagine a space hopper like you has been all sorts of cool and dangerous places. I'm kinda jealous, really? But anyway, I've never properly introduced ourselves. My name's Jade, and my dog's name is Becquerel. What's yours? You know, you'd think this is the first time you've ever been asked for your name? Ever? You almost forgot you had one. You tell Jade your name. Huh. That's a very unique sounding name. I like it. You tell Jade that you like her name too, and she beams at you. Thank you. I'm so glad my grandpa gave me this name. It's so pretty and fairly unique and just very likable. Anyway, why don't I show you around? I can give you a tour of the house and we get to know each other a little better. That sounds great. You're an expert on taking tours of other people's houses, which makes sense, since you don't exactly have your own house. Jade stares at you sadly. I'm sorry to hear that. It's cool. You have magic now, so the trade-off is probably pretty fair. Right, well, this is of course my room. As you can see, I have tons of pretty posters. This is my favorite. It was a gift from Dave, and I love it to pieces, even though it's honestly pretty dumb looking, but that's the point. She gestures to the poster of Dave's webcomic guys with animal attributes scribbled onto them. Most of the other posters also feature anthropomorphic fauna, drawn with significantly more finesse. It all gives you a very furry vibe. Not in a bad way, you clarify. Her lip twitches in irritation, but it occurs to you that people are probably constantly either clowning on her for liking furry stuff or reassuring her that they aren't about to clown her on liking furry stuff. Well, I don't actually dress up in suits or any of that nonsense. But I really love animals, and I think it's fun to imagine what it'd be like to be one. Which is why I own so many animal toys, like the Manthro chaps, who are very silly, but dignified fellows who are part of animal and part Victorian era gentle sir. Jade so many G's. Jade gestures to a pile in the corner, heaped high with plushies and dolls of all sorts. Many of them look like man-animal abominations with curly mustaches, and others feature bright and puffy squid-like creatures. Oh, these are my squiddles. They're based off a cartoon show. Rose says it's a bad show, but I don't believe her. Jade fishes through a toy pile and retrieves a dark bluish-black toy. This one is Inkabelle. She's my favorite. In one episode, she gets lost in the murky brine swallows and spends years completely alone, lost without any of her friends. But in the end, her best friend Podlight tracks her down and saves her. Podlight? I know that's part of a song, but what does it have to do with... Now I need to research more things. Jeez. It seems so bleak the first time I watched it that I literally cried, but I realized in the end that it was a very poignant tale. Jade smiles wistfully down at the plushie in her hand. She glances from it to another one of the Squiddle dolls, and her expression tightens. She squeezes the doll so hard, a little too hard, causing a horrendous pitchy squeak. I guess in retrospect, that was pretty silly, though. I mean, it was only a kid's show. Of course there's gonna be a happy ending. That's how those always work, right? Jane's still smiling as she tosses the doll into her bed, but she puts so much force into the throw that it goes careening off the edge with a wheeze. You hear it plop to the floor and magnetize itself to another squiddle. Its voice box lets out a little weak, yay! Jade stands up and brushes off her skirt. Her eyes fall to her bedspread, which features a striking cloud design. She sighs slowly, then assumes a bright smile once more. Anyway, let's go explore the rest of the house, shall we? I've got so much to show you. Jade hikes up her skirt and skitters down the spiral staircase, 2 steps at a time. You're a little interested in the high-tech devices lying on a workbench near her bed, and a glowing green crystal that you think is literally uranium? But Jade's already gone, so you take your eyes away and follow. The landing below her room is small and cylindrical, and features only a gray closet-looking device and a platform on the floor. My room is at the top of the tower, but this transportalizer will take us to the garden quick and easy. She hops on and disappears in a flash of green light. You're a little nonplussed, but you've seen weirder. You step onto the platform, you hear a light click beneath your feet. In an instant, you're standing in a lush garden atrium. There's exotic plants as far as the eye can see, ranging from psychedelic floral arrangements to tropical fronds of fruit and vegetables. Tall windows blanket the walls and allow sunlight to stream in, and said windows are coated in a steamy mist. You feel like you got clotheslined by a rainforest. It's beautiful, right? Jade opens her arms and spins around, gesturing to her various gardening stations. You nod. It really is. Gardening is another one of my favorite hobbies. It's a great way to get your hands dirty and do some real work. And the end result is really vibrant and beautiful. Jade waves her rough, calloused hands at you, then strokes her fingers along the pinkish petal of an anemone and hums a little tune towards it. One of its leaves seems to curl towards her touch. When Jade pulls away, she skips towards one of the windows and motions for you to follow her. It's a beautiful island vista that awaits your gaze. To your left is a towering mountain that might be a volcano, and ahead of you is a small bay filled with giant lily pads and an old mossy temple. Beyond the island, the sea stretches out to a shimmering horizon. Past that boundary line, an entire world awaits, ever out of reach. This is my home! This entire island belongs to just me, Beck, and my grandpa.
It's a very peaceful place. The greenery is so lovely, and the bay is very fun to take a dip in. There's some mysterious ruins down there, too. I've always been very curious about them, but Beck won't let me visit them. I guess he thinks they're too dangerous. Grandpa's been there plenty of times before, though.
Could her grandfather give her a supervised tour?
Oh, Grandpa doesn't really move much anymore. He spends all his time having tea parties in the foyer. Well,
he's quite old then.
You could say that.
He's practically a mummy. Jade wanders away from the window and towards another one, whose view is exclusively centered on the rolling blue. She presses a hand against the misty pane and sighs.
You know, Dave talks a lot about coming to visit me here. I mean, all my friends do, but Dave especially.
That makes me sad. Dave just wants to go away from bro. Okay. Poor dude. He's got such mixed up feelings in his gut. He's like, maybe he's bi. Did we ever think about that? Maybe Dave's bi. But now we just had to cut the Dave Jade up into little bitty pieces. Okay, I'm a little sour about that still. But it's okay, I'm gonna be fine. It's just shipping. Okay, we calming down. We calm. Okay, moving on.
In his usual Davy way, of course, which means lots of jokes and not sounding very serious about it.
Yeah, I'm itching to get on my safari hat and come traipsing down to Doomdeath Archipelago to get my butt murdered by an Infinidog of the Eldritch Retriever.
Stuff like that. I know he really means it, though. He wants to see me, just like I want to see him. But it's just wishful thinking. He doesn't know where this island is. Even I don't know where it is.
It's in the Pacific. We know where it is. The fandom knows where it is. We've known for a long time. It's so close to another island that's owned by U.S. territory, which technically makes you a U.S. citizen. So there you go. You're welcome. Anyway.
All deliveries go through some company P.O. box my grandpa set up before he died. And it's not marked on any maps. Because this is a special island with all kinds of important secrets on it, I guess. Or it was special. I was special. Not anymore. Now I'm just a regular girl, stuck alone on this dumb island for the rest of my stupid life.
Whoa, you asked Jade if she's feeling alright.
Yes, I'm totally fine. Just peachy. Thanks for asking.
Whiplash.
Come on, let's keep up with the tour. There's no time for dilly-dallying. My grandpa's collection rooms are up next. The first one's full of big game hunting trophies. I'd never shoot an innocent animal, and I think the trophies are pretty hideous. But I do have to admire his great work stuffing them, I guess. It is really hard to properly stuff and mount something. Trust me.
I'm saying nothing at all. We'll probably find out eventually. Maybe. We usually run into parents of some kind, usually in the bad endings. Also, I just like that all of Jade's, well, let me try to say that again. All of Jake's daughters just hate hunting so much. Okay. And he has some cooler stuff on the lower floors, like all these awesome knight statues. Or these faded blue portraits of pretty ladies? Okay, I'm gonna be honest, most of Grandpa's collection stinks. But I think what's important is that it all... But I think what is important is what it all represents to him. He's been on all sorts of incredible, amazing adventures, and he has this huge array of interesting things to show for it. You tell Jade that her grandfather sounds like a hell of a guy. He sure is. Back when I was little, he used to go on trips all over the world and come back with so many interesting stories and souvenirs. I was so awed and I guess a little jealous too. Sometimes he would be gone for days or even weeks at a time, and it would just be me and Beck holding down the fort. I was always so happy when he came back, and I listened to his tales without making a single peep. But he never asked me if I wanted to come along for an adventure, no matter how obvious it was that I did. I guess
that's just the way of life for adventuring folk. There's no time to be tied down, even by the people you love. They stay at home and wait for you to come back. That's how it was for my grandpa, at least. What about you? You're an adventurer, too. You visited all my friends, and you've surely been to other awesome spots around the globe. So I bet you've left someone waiting for you, too, haven't you?
Whoop. Zooming into Jade. Frost floods your veins and nestles into your heart with a burning chill. For reasons you don't quite understand, Jade tilts her head and bores into you with wide, curious eyes. One of her hands is balled up into a fist, and both of them are trembling as she watches you. Geez, you're gonna have to coach another kid through parental issues, aren't you? You swallow down your sudden anxiety, force a smile, and remind Jade that you're suffering amnesia.
Oh, right. Well, it's just this feeling I get, you know. I have great intuition.
She then smiles. A corner of her mouth twitches. It's now or never. Would she like to talk? 2 things I'd like to say. 1, yes. I think Jake would be a much happier person if he wasn't tied down to anybody and just, went across the globe. Be a little lonely boy. Let him be a lonely boy. There's nothing wrong with being a lonely boy. Anyway. 2. I can't remember what my second point was. It just feels sad that that we can't remember any of our friends on Alternia. It makes me feel so sad. Poor guy. Anyway.
I said I'm fine. There's nothing to talk about. Unless you want to talk about, some of these flowers. This one's such a lovely yellow.
Surely there's nothing wrong with a good old feelings jam, right? Jade's an expressive, empathetic girl. Feelings jam should be her thing. You think that, but she's still steadfastly ignoring you.
Hey, how about this orange with a goofy face on it? Why don't we boggle at it for a while?
Jade, something's wrong. You need to talk this out. That's what you do. You're a talker. So why don't you two...
Oh my gosh, shut up! Please just shut your stupid mouth! Of course something's wrong, and that is something is you!
Oh, there's a long pause. Jade stands there, her eyes wide, shocked at her own outburst. She wipes a tear from her cheek, takes a shaky gulp, then sprints back up the stairs. Oof, that didn't work. You stand there for a while feeling like a tender triple A grade jerk steak with baked douchebag potatoes on the side. Hey, Beck. You sigh and steel yourself and trek back up to her room. Jade is nowhere to be seen. Beck is pawing clumsily at a large, suspiciously jade-shaped lump beneath the covers of her bed. You clear your throat and ask softly if she wants to talk. It's cool, you say. You listen to teen drama all the time, and this is some particularly choice drama. Not that you like the drama, you clarify. You just kind of exist in the periphery of it constantly. You are a drama magnet. There's a long pause. You're about to turn and leave when she pulls the covers off and turns to you, her eyes all puffy and red.
Hey.
Hey.
I'm sorry I yelled at you. It's not really your fault. I mean, it kind of is, but you didn't know you were messing anything up. It's not fair for me to get angry at you. It's just none of this is fair at all.
Yeah, that sounds like life, all right. You sit down on the bed and tell her to vent about it. It's okay. You can take it.
Okay. Have you ever spent your whole life waiting for something to happen and then it didn't?
You say your memory is pretty fuzzy right now, so you can't say you have, but you think you understand a similar sense of yearning. Good Lord, have you yearned?
Yearning is a good word for it, yeah. Let me try to explain. When I went to sleep, I would see this beautiful golden kingdom called Prospit and hang out with the people there. I'd wake up with these fuzzy, half-remembered feelings of happiness and visions of the future swirling around in my head. It was nice. It was a good life. But there was this very lonely feeling I couldn't make go away, no matter what I did. I would always tell myself, soon, Jade, soon it'll all change. You'll get to travel to Prospit in your waking hours. You'll meet your friends in person. You'll finally begin to live, like really live. I waited days, months, years for the day to finally arrive, and then it never came. I was so sure that it would come on John's birthday. All of my dreams told me so. All the signs were there, but it just didn't happen. And now I don't know what to do with myself. I was able to ignore the lonely feeling because I knew it would disappear one day, but now that day has slipped me by. It's like all those years are catching up and crashing down at me all at once, and I feel so small and helpless and sad, like the loneliest girl in the world. I don't want to put this all on you. That wouldn't be very nice, but it's not fair.
Jade falls from her bed and stamps her foot on the ground hard. Her face is flushed and streaked with tears and snot. She looks awful, frankly, like someone who's been holding it all in for far too long. Beck gets up and starts licking at her cheeks, and she holds him off until she can wipe her face on her sleeve.
Thanks, Beck. At least I've got you for a best friend, right?
Jade settles back onto the bed, stroking Beck's fur softly.
I have a lot of complicated feelings about all this, I guess. So complicated and painful that I'd rather just pretend everything's okay. But now I can't pretend anymore. These feelings are all that's left. And I hate feeling so glum. I hate sitting around being all sad and useless. It's stupid and pointless and a waste of my energy, and it's not who I am, and I'm just dumping it all on you. I'm sorry. I really am.
Man, you just completely screwed up this girl's life, and she's apologizing to you? Now you feel like the delicious 3-layered craphead tiramisu served after that nice meal of steak and potatoes you had earlier. You really want to help Jade. And while you still don't quite get all this magical moon stuff she's been talking about, you do get how it feels to be lonely. That's something that you can help with. You offer her hand. Want to see the world? I can show you the world. Shining, shimmering, full of weird stuff. She sniffles and slightly shakes her head.
It's not gonna work.
Well, there's no way to know unless you give it a try, right? She nods, stands up, and takes your hand. Oh, Beck says no. You focus on a familiar destination, John's house, but as you begin to dematerialize, Beck turns to stare at you, and you hear that familiar barking sound in your ears. Then the flash of light subsides. You're standing here in Jade's room, only a few feet from where you started. What?
See? Told you it wouldn't work. Come on, let me show you something.
Jade hops up and shuffles down the staircase. You follow. She takes you to the teleportation pad in the atrium.
These transportalizers are all powered by thermal energy and use each other as beacons for the sake of easy short-range teleportation. But if you hook one of them up to the uranium converter and modify the coordinates specified on the logic board, you can theoretically go anywhere in the world. Which I tried. See?
She twists the top of the pad of her fingertips and pulls it off, shows you the wiring underneath. It looks messy, like someone had made multiple attempts to rewire the circuits.
But when I used it, it only led to the exact same thing that happened just now. Beck used his powers to prevent me from leaving the island. Maybe I got the coordinates wrong and could have ended up stuck underground or something, but I checked and double-checked my measurements. I think Beck just doesn't want me to leave the island. He wants me to stay somewhere he can keep me safe at all times.
Beck? Perhaps he heard his name before from above, or perhaps he just has a sixth sense about it, because Beck wanders down the staircase and over to Jade. She gives him a soft stroke behind the ear.
I love him very much, but as long as he's around, I'm stuck here, and because of the changes you made, that's how it'll always be. I'm just gonna have to get used to it, I guess.
Jade deflates against one of her gardening tables and offers you a wan smile. For a split second, you could swear you see droopy doggy ears and tail tucked between her legs. Depression to this degree simply is not conducive to friendship, and even if it was, you would still feel pretty terrible about it. You should do something to cheer her up. Challenge Beck for superiority or explore. Okay. So we need to get this one here. Yes. I'm guess challenging Beck for superiority would just end with me dying. Let's try it. It seems to you that the cause of Jade's problems, even though he's probably not hurting her on purpose, is Becquerel. He's a good dog, and he wants to protect her, but the time for that is past. Jade has a new omnipotent friend in her life, and she's got places to be besides this island. There's only one thing to do. You need to establish yourself as the new alpha of the pack. You must win the right to escort Jade to visit her friends. This is how dogs work, right? Yeah, it is. It definitely is, you think. But he's a first guardian. He's not going to take that sitting down. You square up, bend your knees, and tense your palms.
What are you doing?
Whoop. You don't worry about it, you tell Jade. You're practically an expert in what Lucis wrangling techniques are. In what techniques? She shouts behind you, but you're already charging. Beck doesn't see it coming at all. Perhaps because it's such a spectacularly stupid thing to do. You go tumbling to the ground with him and manage to pin him. You know exactly what to do now. There's only one possible course of action. You're gonna bite his ear like, Cuba Gooding Jr. in Snow Dogs? Okay, it has been incalculated with such mimic gravity that you are entirely certain it will work as intended. Punch Becquerel in the snout to establish superiority. You punch Beck in the snout to establish superiority and immediately realize it's not working as intended. He snarls and flares up neon green energy crackling around his body. You wince as heat washes over you as if you just opened an oven door, and your arm hairs stand stiff in the electric terror. What were you thinking? This is a fight you can't win. Oh, he bit me. Lunges at you. Beck lunges at you and sinks his fangs into you. You yelp, pain splintering your sight. Radioactive fire roaring up your arm. You yank yourself away and instinctively try to teleport, but as you disappear, Beck's teeth catch you on the shoulder and hold you tight. Oh, image not found. What does it say? Get me out of here, not found. The two of you go hurtling through the nothingness, and you're pretty sure that you left blood splatter some meta-narrative construct like a website's scroll bar or Renpai's debug screen or something. Oh, we on Durst. Eventually you come exploding back into cannon and bounce off a purple spire with ungainly smack and dislodging Beck in the process. You tumble off to the bridge and scatter some dudes in goofy gesture outfits, and Beck lands in front of you. Good boy? Can we call it even here? He snarls. Green flames crack the stone beneath his feet. So much for that. You throw up your arms in front of your face and squeeze your eyes shut as Beck lunges again, but you don't feel the sting of his fangs against your flesh. Instead, you feel the singularly odd sensation of your body passing right through Beck's, as though you've just had a window thrown at you, like a reverse defenestration? Refenestration? Unfenestration? The world beyond your eyelids strobes green, and when you open your eyes, you find yourself staring into a massive verdant sun. You think that when Beck went in for the kill, you must have phased through him as his powers surged? Hold on a second. Okay. I had to sneeze, I'm sorry. You think that when Beck went in for the kill, must have phased through him as his powers surged? It was pure dumb luck. You can't imagine what kind of precise timing it would take to pull off that on purpose. The good news is that you're alive, but the blood loss is really doing a number on you, and you can't focus your powers. Your vision flickers at the edges, and there's a ringing in your ears louder than the flickering flames of the sun. You only just barely hear a voice from behind you as your eyes glaze over. Solix! Hey, what up, boy? Who's this douchebag? No, wait, this is Solix without his teeth. I'm sorry. Who's this douchebag? Solix, be nice. This douchebag looks very injured. Thank you, Aradia. I think they're gonna have to restart and try again. Better luck next time. Thank you. I like how they're just waiting at the green sun as we burn into pieces. Okay, was that a hidden thing? No, it wasn't. We don't have a hidden ending here. We're gonna load this here. Explore. Okay. You present your most finely honed smile of confidence and urge Jade to stand. This is no time to mope around. There's plenty of fun to be found without leaving this island. You suggest that perhaps with your help, you can give her the opportunity to explore the temple she's always been curious about.
Really? That'd be super fun. But what about Beck?
Oh, there's nothing to worry about there. You have a genius plan, you tell her. Tell her to just head out over to the temple and you'll take care of the rest.
Okay, if you say so, but please don't do anything to hurt Beck, okay? I love him to bits.
You wouldn't dream of it. Not on this route, at least. Jade transportalizes downwards, and you turn your attention to Beck, who idly sniffs one of Jade's plants. You advance on him slowly with intent. You know what must be done. Pet the dog! You just get in there. You pet the hell out of this dog. You employ all your strongest pamper techs and quick scritch up, the main massage, and the rare Cuddle Brand EX Dog Smite. Doge Smite. Somewhere in the distance, a blue bird observes your masterful display and chirps happily. Twitter? But suddenly Beck's head snaps up and he points his snout in the direction of the temple. Whoa, 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 there, buddy. Now's no time for thinking about Jade. Now is Belly Scritch's time. You start rubbing Beck's stomach and he flops onto his back with his tail wagging and his feet curled up. Who's a good boy? Beck looks up at you. You see the cosmos reflected in his deep, piercing eyes, and you understand he's a good boy. and he knows it. After a while longer spending threading your fingers through his silky fur, Beck curls up beside you and yawns, starting to nod off. You kiss him on the forehead and then take the opportunity to slowly stand up and exit the room, letting the sleeping dog lie. You're a little worried about alerting Beck by using your powers. He seems to be pretty keyed in to that kind of space-time manipulation, so you just take the long route to the temple. Jade's Island is a beautiful place, with rolling hills and lush sun-bathed plains. It looks like an excellent vacation destination, but it's also so bare. There's nothing and nobody around except for hollow whispers of the wind. You see how this place would feel less like paradise after years spent stranded here. When you reach the lake surrounding the temple, you see that the giant lily pads outside have arranged themselves into a walkway you can use to reach it. How strange and convenient. You channel your inner frog and hop across.
Hey! Up here!
Jade calls down to you. She's at the temple entrance far above your head, waving down at you. Grooves carved into the wall form a ladder you can use to climb up, and soon you're standing beside her at the entrance of the temple. A huge imposing archway marks the ingress between the sunny island and the dark interior of the ruin. From within, you see a faint yellow-green glow that seems to come from the ruins carved in the walls. Spoopy. As you proceed through the entryway, Jade runs a hand along the glowing walls, her face bathed in the sickly green. At the end of the hallway is a large round platform decorated with a cloudy design and glowing orb at the center. It doesn't pique your interior decorator, but Jade seems quite awed by the sight.
This is Skya! I knew this temple had to be connected to the world to that world in some way.
Jade rushes onto the platform and it begins to descend. You quickly follow her before you're left behind, as the elevator takes you down an expansive and dark room below. The withered pod. Yes. Much like the rest of the temple, the space seems very sparse, and it is illuminated by the faint glow of the ruins on the walls. A large purple lotus flower rests on top of a pedestal in front of the elevator, petals withered. There's an electronic display built into the pedestal, with a timer that could feasibly count down for millions of years, but it seems to be glitched, stuck a few hours away from 0, with the seconds digit constantly ratcheting back and forth between two numbers. Let me guess. 413 and 612? Jade places a hand on the pedestal and sighs.
The number's stuck. I think this is a time capsule, but it's malfunctioning for some reason. Was I supposed to open it when the time was right? Now I'll never know. What else could this place be hiding from me?
As if on cue, the elevator platform shudders and begins to rise again. As the platform ascends, it becomes clear that there is a pit beneath it, which is basically video game logic 101. Jade looks down into it and you follow suit and see...
Transportalizers?
There's 2 of them, one deep purple and the other a brilliant gold. Jade leaps down into the pit, which is a pretty brave maneuver because it's deep as hell and real life still has fall damage. She grunts and sinks her knees in the impact, but quickly recovers and rushes over to the golden transportalizer. She examines it for a moment, then clambers on. With a soft click, the pressure plate is depressed, and the device surges to life. She disappears in a bright flash of light. Well, crap, you better follow her. You hop down and step onto the transportalizer, and the same flash of light consumes your body. Yeah! We prospit now. You feel something like wind whipping around you as your molecules are dematerialized and are reassembled in a new locale, a glimmering golden palace. Wow, this place is way too bright. Someone needs to crank the saturation down pronto.
I don't believe it.
Jade is looking around with wide eyes that reflect your golden surroundings.
This is it. This is Prospit, the planet I visited in my dreams. I didn't think it was possible to get here like this. What does it mean? Why am I allowed to be here right now? I should talk to the Queen.
And with that, she's off, sprinting down the halls with renewed sense of vigor. You scramble to keep up with her, threading your way through crowds of confused white-shelled folks in fancy outfits. They kind of remind you of yourself, but with chitinous bodies. You sidestep a lady carrying a paint can and shuffle down a lengthy golden staircase adorned with regal golden spikes. Sorry, Ms. Paint! Anyway, you can only barely keep your eyes on Jade's long black hair as it swishes behind her. When you finally catch up, she's in the middle of an argument with two burly fellows in white suits. She stamps her foot at them, but they are undeterred, blocking her passage further. Eventually, Jade wheels around to look at you. She tries to soften her expression for your sake, but her face is still sour.
Ugh. The guards won't let me see the Queen. Apparently, she's really busy with something. They told me I'm not supposed to be here, and that I have to leave right away. This is totally bull! I'm a princess! I swear some of these idiots can't even recognize me without my pretty golden dress. Blah, I guess I'm not getting any answers here either. Let's just get out of here.
And she's off again, this time striding forward with her fist curled and her jaw set. You glance back at the guards, whose furrowed brows strike you with more worry than ire, then follow Jade back. You're almost to the exit when you see it, a dark figure silhouetted against sky as brilliant blue. They are humanoid in shape, with two leathery wings, outstretched and inky black tendrils trailing behind. Oh, Jack Noir. Okay, better run now. He's gonna set fire to the place. Crimson Force crackles in their wake, and they swoop over the city like a bird of prey. Something about them gives you a major sense of heebie-jeebies. You do a nervous little half-jog back to the transportalizer and get the hell out of Dodge. Wait, how is Jack? Well, I guess, whatever. Okay, multi-universe, whatever. The temple feels oppressively dark compared to the blinding light of Prospit. You spent a while blinking as your eyes readjust. The transportalizer you'd use just flares up red and then cracks. That's probably not a good sign, is it? You do what you do best. Ignore it and climb out of the pit. Jade is standing beside the lotus contraption, running her hand along one of the petals with her face set.
What does it all mean? Was this here all along? Has my grandpa been to Prospit before?
You don't even know, son.
If I could just go there, then it must still exist. The game must still exist, but how? None of it makes any sense. I need to think about this.
You follow Jade slowly back to her house as she mumbles to herself, brows furrowed. You can barely catch what she's saying, but she's clearly thinking hard.
The clouds have never been wrong before. Is it too early? Was this meant to happen?
Once you reach the atrium, Jade lets out a sharp breath and nods her head, resolute. She turns to you.
All right, I think I understand. I know what's going on now.
Great! You offer her your most winning smile. What's the sitch?
Well, the truth is, I was always being very immature about the idea of being a hero and having a destiny. Life isn't like the kids in cartoons after all. Heroism isn't all rainbows and sunshine, and it's childish to think that everyone gets a happy ending. That kind of storybook stuff doesn't really exist. So, to be a real hero, you must be prepared to suffer horribly. It makes sense when you think about it. If everything came easy, there wouldn't actually be anything heroic about it. Why else would my grandpa have put me on this island? Why else would Beck want to keep me safe here even now that everything has changed? It's because it's my destiny. I have to prove that I'm willing to suffer and be willing to sacrifice. If that's what it means, if that has to be it.
Space players. Am I right? Goodness.
This can't all have been for nothing, right? That's not the way the world works. Everything has a purpose, even if it's not clear at first. Seeing Prospect in the flesh reminded me of that. My purpose is to do what I've always done, what my grandpa and Beck have helped me prepare for. I know I'll be really lonely, but in the end it means that everything will continue to play out the way it's meant to. It's a very noble job, and I've got to be the one to do it.
You're really at a loss for words. This really doesn't feel like the right takeaway at all from this, but you don't know jack about Spurb or Destiny or any of that nonsense, so who are you to say otherwise?
So thank you for helping me visit Prospect. I wouldn't have figured this all out if not for you, and I'm sure that meeting me is one step along the way towards your mysterious fate as well. I'll be rooting for you.
Jade erupts into a broad, beaming smile. It might be the first completely genuine smile you've seen from her this entire time, but that doesn't make you feel any better about it. In fact, it's more of a knife twisting in your gut, and when she throws her arms around you and hugs you tight, the knife pushes deeper into the bone.
Well, you probably have more important stuff to do than keep hanging out with me. I'll let you get back to it.
Jade turns and heads towards the staircase, leaving you to stare at her retreating form. Is this it? Will you accept this new destiny you've written for Jade and allow her to stay trapped here on this island? Accept or do not accept. We got a third choice? Might as well save over this one. Because that's the first choice. We have yet to do the first choice. No. Some people might take this as a lesson in responsible use of reality-altering powers. Some people might swear off manipulating canon entirely, but not you. We've already screwed this up. What's the point of using sick powers at all if you never use them? Maybe some god is gonna punish you for the way you've been messing with the universe, but right now you don't care. This girl would burn herself to ashes to keep her friends warm. The least you can do is risk the flame for her sake. You quickly sprint up the stairs.
Oh! You're not leaving? Don't you have places to be? I'll be fine here alone, I promise. It's my duty. I'll get used to it eventually.
You can't imagine she's okay with that, no matter what she says. Does she really want to stay alone for the rest of her life?
Well, of course not, but what I want to do is explore the world and hang out with all my pals. But it's not about what I want. It's about doing what has to be done. That's what it has to be. That's what it always has been about for me.
Well, that's bull.
Huh?
Maybe Jade's fate dictates she never play the game she wanted to play. Maybe heroes don't get a happy ending, but that doesn't mean heroes can't be happy. Thank you. There comes a time in every young woman's life, you tell Jade, where she can't leave home because her pet is an overprotective god. Okay, that's obviously not true, but there comes a time when many young women's lives where circumstances beyond their control leave them without an escape. Perhaps it's easier to believe that escape will never come, but you can't let Jade do that. When life gets you stuck, at home perhaps, you can still hold on to hope. You can fight. No matter how long you have to wait, you can keep looking for another chance to see the world. And if the universe tells you to sit, stay, and roll over, you look at the universe dead in the eyes and ask, who do you think is the master around here? And then you tell it to mother truckin' heel.
Yeah, you're right. Even now, I'm still being childish. It was easier to tell myself to be miserable for a noble cause instead of holding on to hope and maybe getting hurt again. But I have to hope. That's who I am. I'm a hoper, not a moper. I'll keep trying to convince Beck that it'll be safe for me to leave the island. Things have changed, and maybe he doesn't realize it yet. He is kind of a silly dumb dog at times, but he loves me, and I love him, and we can work it out. Maybe it'll take a while, but I'll definitely figure things out. And I'll wait. And while I wait, you'll come visit me sometimes, won't you?
Of course you will. You're not in the habit of abandoning your friends. The idea is unthinkable. Let's just ignore Prospect. Well, let's just ignore Alternia for a bit. You promised Jade that you'll come to visit her. Come visit? Come visit? A light bulb goes off in your head, one of those cool LED bulbs, the kind that syncs up to your phone and changes colors and spies on you for the government. Party time! You ask Jade if she's ever had a slumber party.
A slumber party? No, I've never had one. It sounds exciting, but is it really a party if there's only 2 people and a dog? That sounds like a mild slumber hangout.
Don't worry about it, you tell her. Just start getting the place ready for a bash. Pull out the sleeping bags. Conjure up some lightly irradiated snacks. Pump up the fresh jams, etc., etc. Sorry, I saw sleeping bags and I'm like, just go to Golden Corral and bring a sleeping bag. Okay.
I don't know if we even have sleeping bags, but okay. I'll see what I can do. Maybe there's something useful in my grandpa's old supplies.
You shoot her a confident salute and then dissolve into the ether of cannon. All right, Egbert, up and at him. It's party time. John yelps and tumbles out of his chair, crashing to the ground in an undignified heap. Looks like he was in the middle of debugging some code on his computer when you interrupted him. He disentangles his limbs and stands up with a groan.
Okay, magic mailman, we need to get some things straight. Your powers are extremely cool, but using them like this is kinda lame. Jump scares rank very low on the prank scale. They don't take any effort, they're just sort of mean and annoying.
You apologize for scaring John. You're just in a very excited mood right now because it's time for a mother truckin' slumber party.
Oh cool, I've never been to a slumber party before. Who is it with?
You grin. Don't you already know who with, John?
The American Association of Mailmen.
You give him a blank stare.
All right, probably my other friends. That one should have been obvious.
There you go, John. You tell him to pack up whatever supplies he thinks he should bring, then get ready for another whirlwind ride through space-time.
I don't know. I should probably do the responsible thing and let my dad know I'm going on a trip, even if I'll be back soon.
Okay, that's fine, you tell him. But don't take too much time. This route's already getting pretty long. You're telling me. I still haven't gotten the other bad ending. The other bad ending, too.
Cool, okay, what should I bring? Oh, I need to grab some movies, definitely. Dave will be there, right? I should bring some McConaughey movies so he realizes I was right all along about Matthew's stellar acting. Oh, and of course some snacks. This is a great time to unload all the Access birthday cakes my dad made me. Seriously, there might be hundreds of them in the fridge. It's all stuck in there. It's highly ridiculous. You wait patiently in John's room as he goes downstairs to fetch his bounty of cakes, talk to his dad, and do all his other preparations. It takes forever. You're not really sure what he's doing down there. You think he might be walking around examining all the objects in his home in great detail and solving a bunch of puzzles? Come on, John. This is not the right genre of game. Get your stuff together. Okay, ready.
Oh. All right, step 2 is to get Rose. You take John's hand and zap the 2 of you into Rose's mansion. John spends a while goggling at the giant statue of Zazurpan the Learned. Then you you ascend the staircase towards Rose's room and knock on the door. Her voice comes from within, slightly muffled. You're home early. I've been hearing strange noises from the neighboring lab of late. Have you been? Rose opens the door and freezes. John? Her eyes widen and she slowly steps backward, which John takes as an invitation to stride into her room. Her cheeks darken, and she scans the room, her eyes flickering from mess to mess. Surprise, Rose! We're here to steal you away, like the owl who kidnaps Harry Potter! Hedwig is the saint of orphan children. I do know that saint, at least. That's not... She sighs and turns to you. Care to explain the sudden intrusion? It is normally considered polite to call ahead, especially when one is possessed of reality-bending powers.
Oh, don't be so melodramatic. There's probably nothing too embarrassing in this room.
John furrows his brow as he glances around the room, eyes sweeping over the walls. He eventually settles on some pictures that have been hung up.
These are great drawings. Did you do those? It's so cool. I didn't know you drew stuff.
Rose gives him a smile of a girl whose soul is just shriveled into a blackened husk. Again, an explanation would be nice. You explain that you've come to collect Jade's friends for a slumber party. I see. The commercial and critical failure of Spurp must have impacted her more strongly than I anticipated. She was really looking forward to playing that game with us.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly, probably. I would hate to disappoint her further. Consider this my RSVP. Rose gives you a curt nod, then turns a frown to John, who's poking around under her bed. Something tugs at the corner of her mouth. John, my mother is busy and will not be expected to return for a while. Why don't you and our strange friend go analyze her room instead? I need time to pack. Oh, okay, Rose, whatever you say. Rose shoves you out the room with more strength than you expected from a 13-year-old girl and shuts the door hard. Man, I do hope Rose realizes that I was being serious when I said her drawings were good. We tease each other a lot, but she's really cool. John's speaking loudly enough so that Rose can almost certainly hear him from the other side of the door. You think he knows that, but you don't say anything, except to casually suggest that you and John just go wait downstairs and admire all the ridiculous wizard art. He agrees. This house is so weird. Who needs a giant statue of a wizard? Where did they even get this? Oh, speaking of weird, I didn't want to bring this up with Rose in case it's just some funny story I'm in and or not, but what's with all the writing on her? Oh! So the kids can see the writing on the walls, but we don't. I was wondering about that. I'm like, we don't mention anything about the clown stuff on the walls? Whatever. Interesting. But John trails off as Rose descends the stairs with a neatly packed bag. Shall we? We shall, you say. With a hand in each of their shoulders, you close your eyes and concentrate on the Strider apartment. You're aiming for the hallway outside the front door, but this power is still taking some getting used to, so instead you pop into existence right on top of Dave's bed. Slightly embarrassed boy stands alone in his bedroom. Well, not so alone. Anyway, he's tapping away at something on his computer. As soon as you appear, his entire body tenses up. You barely had a moment to react before Dave wheels around in his chair and flings a handful of shurikens at you. One of them grazes Rose's cheek so closely, a strand of pale hair flutters to the ground. She turns to look at the weapon, now embedded in the wall, and runs a finger along the edge of the blade, squinting. Oh, Jesus crap. What the hell, man? Surprise! Okay, rule 1 of time travel or dimension hopping. Don't pull this kind of stuff. I mean, seriously. Under any other circumstances, I'd be crapping my nuts off about the opportunity to chill with my best bro. But dude, you can't just drop a guy's besties into the middle of his room out of nowhere like this. This is an extreme social faux pas. You gotta give a guy some time to prepare. Don't be melodramatic, Dave. I assure you there is nothing present in this room that would make us think lesser of you. If Rose is scarred by that near-death experience just now, she doesn't show it. She hops off their bed and glances around. If you left any pornography out, I would only serve to confirm my hypothesis I've already made. Haha, dude, are all these selfies? Are you doing a duck face in this one? Oh, man. Oh, for goodness sake, John. You get a VIP all-access backstage pass, and the first thing you do is insult my stuff. Like some rowdy tool at a Nickelback concert rummaging through their closets instead of doing the music world a favor and assassinating them. Well, yeah. You would do the same, dude. Touché. But anyway, aside from you getting your grubby hands all over my pristine collection of cool swords, what the hell are you doing here? We're having a slumber party. Are you in? Oh, I don't know. Bro is basically always keeping tabs on me. Guy wants me to be safe, you know? Or rather wants me to only be in the right kind of danger to teach me lessons about irony and being an awesome ninja master. It's all some pretty intense supervision is the point is being made here. I was already getting some rank vibes from him after that little jaunt over to Olive Garden. Actually, the vibes have been off ever since John's birthday, if I'm being honest. Caliborn's probably like, what the hell is going on? And screaming at the top of his lungs. Anyway. So I don't know how he'd feel about me gallivanting off on some magic snooze adventure with Slappy the time-traveling mailman. Seems like the kind of thing he'd take issue with. Aw, come on. He can't be that bad. What kind of guy wouldn't let his brother hang out with his friends? I will say nothing. Yeah, I guess.
a pretty terrible kind of guy if he did that. It's okay, Dave. You can let it go. Wouldn't he? Dave stares off into the middle distance for a while. Rose observes him intently. Look, Dave, I don't think it would feel right if we just had a big party and you weren't there. Jade would really miss you. Yeah, as would we. Yeah. Dave glances furtively around the room as if he's expecting a camera to blink at him at top of one of the corners. All right, I'm in. Let me just grab some sups. That's supplies for short. Hey, mailman, what's Jade's hell dog like do? Okay, hey, mailman, what's Jade's hell dog like? Do I need to bring one of these cool swords? Cool. These swords are like $5 Chinatown swords, aren't they? What? No. Okay, listen. While Dave grabs his stuff and John heckles him affectionately, Rose's attention has been drawn back to the shuriken Dave threw at her. You stroll over and ask her what's up. She responds with her own question. Have you been introduced to Dave's brother? Not yet. You've heard a lot about him, though. For the sake of diplomacy, you only briefly touch on the opinion you've formed. He certainly seems like a fascinating man, the kind of individual whose brain I'd love to pick apart to find out just what twisted mechanisms fire off within its chambers. You don't even know, Rose. You don't even know. So that's what she's thinking about. Dave's bro? Her father? Rose chews on her bottom lip. Not exactly, but an adjacent topic. I'm mulling over the ethical quandaries presented by the existence of powers esoteric. What? It's nothing to concern yourself with yet. We have a party to attend, apparently. Right, Dave is done packing up. You open both palms and suggest that everybody hold hands so you can best channel your powers. Really? We're holding hands? Oh, this is so lame. But he does it, and he clasps John and Rose's hands as he shifts around and blushes faintly in a manner that suggests he doesn't really think it's lame. In fact, he may think it's the opposite of lame. He may think it's rad. Maybe he likes it too much. Okay, he'd be right. Friendship is the raddest thing of them all. Oh, here we are. You're full of warm, fuzzy friend feelings as you teleport back to Jade's atrium. Wait, no, it's just the feeling of your body dissolving and reconstructing halfway through across canon. There are very similar feelings. You head to the base of the staircase and you can call out to Jade. Her guests have arrived, you tell her. Jade rushes down the stairs and nearly trips over her skirt. Her expression is tight and anxious, and when she sees your motley crew standing there, she freezes up. Her breath hitches a half sob. You really did bring them. They're here. You're all here. Jade breaks into a wide grin and, tackles John. Dave throws himself bodily out of the way, and Rose takes an alarmed step back, leaving John to bear the full brunt of her affections. She crashes into him, and the two of them go sprinting round and around as Jade laughs breathily. Whoa, whoa, calm down there, Jade. It's nice to see you too. Tears beating in her eyes, she squeezes him tight and pecks his cheek with a soft kiss. Oh, John, I'm so happy to see you in person. In waking person and everything. I've spent so much time watching you sleep. What? Jade swings around to look at the other two pals. Come on, you two, get over here. We're having a 4x hug combo right now. Dave is so embarrassed. My boy. Rose and Dave cautiously step forward, and Jade, with John's help, yanks both of them into a tight embrace. She smooches them on the cheeks, too. Rose's face lights up with blush, and Dave nearly goes catatonic. When Jade pulls back, she's clutching John's hand and tugging so hard she might pull the dang thing off. Come on, everyone, let's go upstairs. I found a bunch of military-grade sleeping bags and Grandpa's old adventuring gear and set them up in my room. We can play with all my toys and jam out to some music and stay up all night chatting with each other. Oh my gosh, you're all here and this is really happening. Jade's next laugh verges on hysterical, and she's got tears streaked down her cheeks. Dave looks a little perturbed. Oh, holy crap, wow. It's cool, Jade. No need to get so... like this. Kind of messes me up seeing you cry. Not that I'm trying to make all this about me. Dave, you're doing a horrible job at comforting her. Jade, come here. I shall hold you in my arms. Rose walks over to Jade, extends her thumb, and swipes down Jake's cherry cheeks in a stiff mechanical motion. Then she wraps her arms around Jade in an embrace that could generously be called a hug, but looks like a precursor to an alien medical examination. John boggles at the display. None of you whack jobs know how to do this. Oh my gosh. Come here, Jade.
Aw, thank you, John. Now, come on, everyone, let's go.
And so the party begins. Tales told, movies watched, fun had aplenty. So many shenanigans happen. So many. Perhaps someday you'll recount them all in detail. But before you know it, the energy in the room has fled alongside the sunlight. The room and stars cast their pale gaze across four supine friends, bundled up in sleeping bags, and caught midway between slumber and wakefulness. Dave is rambling about some inane bull that nobody's paying attention to, and Rose is attempting, quite terribly, to lecture John and Jade about the modern reinterpretation of Lovecraft's works. You think it's about time you bowed out. It's not that you haven't enjoyed chumming it up with these kids, but you feel kind of weird sticking around overnight. You can come back later. Besides, you've got places to go and sights to see. There's an entire golden moon out there full of potential friends that you know nothing about before today. The universe beckons, and you're powerless to refuse. You give Beck a little nod like, hey, take care of these kids. Beck doesn't nod back, because he's a dog, but you like to think he understands. As you quietly slip down the staircase and out of sight, you spare one last glance at the group and find a sigh escaping your lips. Everything that's happened here feels almost too good to be true. Can't it last? Can this brazen wish fulfillment go punished? You find that hard to imagine. There's something fate touched about these kids. You feel it in your bones. As surely as the wind whispers through the trees or the stars dance through the space, as surely as the turning clocks will call the sunlight back again, these kids will never be free of the bull that hounds them. But right here, right now, they are at peace. They have shared this one perfect moment together, and perhaps in the future, there will come more betwixt the chaos. And maybe that's enough. Victory! Oh, painting his nails, I see. Is that Taz's persona right there? Goodness gracious me. Dave's a tiger. Jade's a dog. Okay, we gotta load. Let's do the other ending for that one. Accepting fate. Wow, maybe you're kind of a jerk, aren't you? Or maybe the narrative is a huge jerk. Is that what you would say? But now you're practically in charge of the narrative, so yeah, it's basically just you. But Jade seems happy enough with her lot in life. Maybe she's better off this way instead of whatever danger she could have gotten caught up in if she had played Spurb. Yeah, you keep telling yourself that. Bad and not important. Boop. Okay, let's load the first choice. Let's get shot. You can't let a good opportunity to slip between your fingers again. You need to disarm her before she accidentally blows you to smithereens. There must be something else you can get her guard down. You ask about her grandfather, the one who taught her about guns. He must surely be a reasonable and mature man. Perhaps this might be best to bring him into the discussion. You could sit down, have tea, drop the gun.
I don't know. Grandpa does love his tea time with guests, but usually conversations with him are really one-sided.
But Oh, is he that stubborn?
Well, yes, he is a pretty abstain man and a total blowhard. But as well, you might find him difficult to talk to on account of the fact that he's also a stuffed corpse.
Oh, cool, yeah, that's cool, that checks out. This is fine, everything's fine. You love guest starring in a dang Hitchcock movie. This girl is clearly too unstable to be reasoned with. You need to disarm her in pronto. You steer the topic away from grandfather and surely murdered and wait for another lull in the conversation. With her eyes start to wander and her grip slackens, you spring forward and reach for the rifle. Oop. She shrieks, goes for the trigger, but before she can fire, an ear-splitting bark rings in your ear, and the world explodes into neon green. You feel weightless and empty, cocooned in bitter cold. For half a second, you think you got Avada Kedavra, but then you glance around and see the stars, an iridescent light show twinkling all around you, painting the vast expanse of beaded glimmers. This is transcendent. It's beautiful. You're at peace. Maybe that's the asphyxiation talking. Space junked. Okay, well that's the end of that. We got all the beta kids figured out. Drum roll, please. Yes, we got the happiest girl in the world ending. You and Jade hosted the world's greatest slumber party. The lack of apocalypse was your favorite part. And I'm excited to see my boy. Ah, it's called expedited shipping. Oh, Carcat, my boy. Oh my gosh. I'm crying. Okay, this episode's gone on for much longer than I thought it would go, but that's just what to expect. I'm sure the comments on the Dave episode were saying things like, say no! Let Jade accept her fate first. Anyway, whatever. Too late for that. I look forward to continuing on to playing this. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye!
Hey there. Consider becoming a patron, just like the phenomenal Bleed Red, Alexander Madeline, and Uranium Coffee.